So Frankie, we know, is potential talent. James will get all the hype. What about Billy Joe Bunty? Romany Gypsy, so he's going to have that different angle to market himself on in terms of talent. How good is he?
Billy Joe's still only a baby. He was the best under 19, the best at his weight under 19 in the world. I think he'll be disappointed a little bit with his performance at the Olympics, and I think he'll feel he's got a lot to prove. But in many ways, I know he's the youngest of the four we're talking about today, but in some ways he's incredibly mature, and in other ways he's a pain in a jacksie because he's a complete nutcase. So in some ways he acts like a baby, and in other ways he's extremely mature. Like so many traveller boys. You know, when you cover amateur boxing, and there's a lot of traveller boys win schoolboy titles at 16 and win junior ABAs, and then go on and just do well in the seniors at 17, 18, and they're really mature boys. And in many ways that's what Billy Joe is. I mean, he's mature in some ways, and he's immature in other ways, but he's exciting, and I sort of feel he's the one that the fans might warm to slightly more than the other two on the Frank Warren shows. On the Frank Maloney shows, Tony Jeffries. I mean, when I say they're nuts in Sunderland for Tony Jeffries, I'm under exaggerating. He could sell 5,000 tickets every other week in Sunderland if he was shadowboxing.
Let's hear from Tony Jeffries, and he fights in Barnsley tomorrow night, the first of the Olympians to get underway. Alexander Voevoda is his opponent, and Britain's Olympic bronze medalist says he just can't wait to get his pro career off to a flyer.
I've been really dedicated with my diet and done everything right. I've got Kerry kids on board, a nutritionist, using these supplements, and the way with my hard training and my dedication, it's just come off, and I'm happy. I feel strong. And I'm really big for the weight. I'm nearly 6'2", and I'm super middleweight. That's big. I would be big for like heavyweight, but being a super middleweight, I feel big and strong. It's been, I think, six months since I last boxed there, so I might be a bit rusty because you can do as much training as you want, but competition's completely different. I might be rusty, but I might, and then again I might box out my skin. I don't know. So I'll not find that out until the night. But at the minute I'm feeling brilliant, and I just can't wait to go.
Tell you what, Bunty, what strikes me there, Tony Jeffries, he looks like he's trimmed down a lot since Beijing.
Well, he had no problem about it.
Yeah, no struggle. He had no problems with doing 81 kilos in Beijing or in the build-up to Beijing, and super middleweight I think will suit him.
And super middle's great because, you know, even though he's best pals with James DeGale, they can sort of build up a bit of a rivalry. Carl Froch is out there, obviously, at super middle. It's always nice if you're a young talent and there's a guy who's a proper world champion. Darren Barker could move up. Matt Macklin could end up moving up, assuming he manages to beat Wayne Elcott for the British title next month. And then, of course, you've got Darren Sutherland, who also fights for Maloney. You know, he's based over in Dublin. Glenn McCrory's got some Cuban, Garcia or whatever, who's meant to be the greatest fighter since sliced bread up in Newcastle. I mean, so in theory,
chuck in George Groves as well.
Yeah, I forgot about our very own George Groves. So you've got this sort of sexy super middleweight, you know, thing, and I've been pushing this since September. And hey, listen, I wish they were all fighting with us on Setanta. They're not, but you can't not push them. Unlike some other channels, they sort of have they have a cup draw and there's only 2 teams and it's the quarterfinals. Doesn't work that way. You can't have X v X, can you? You've got to name X. You've got to say where X is from. Carry on, Andy.
You're going to get us in trouble, Bunty. Let's talk about the 4 then. As a general, Terry, I know you're close to them, so you can't say who's going to go the furthest, who has the most potential, but do you have any concerns about any of the 4 that perhaps there's a weakness there that you have to be careful of?
I think I have no concerns. I think my biggest worry is that there's maybe a couple of them on the night see the red mist and maybe not stick to their game plan and take on these opponents more than maybe they should do. So if they keep it calm, listen to the advice being given and not see that red mist, then I'm sure I think the danger is if they get drawn into a fight more than a box fight.
See, we know they can box. That, of course, though, no guarantee of success, which sounds like a cue for a Bunce fact.
It certainly is. Oh, seamless. Now, being an Olympian and winning an Olympic medal is no guarantee of professional success. Just hours to go before gold medal idol DeGale fights as a pro. Can he become Britain's first Olympic gold medal winner to win a proper world title? He thinks so. He has the connections, the talent, and does he have the desire or the drive? Eubank thinks not. James thinks yes. We will see. Give it a couple of years, I hope. Amir Khan, 17-year-old boxing idol from Athens. He looked like Bambi in a vest when he won a silver. Trust me, he won a silver. It was slow and cautious, and last year it went wrong. He ended up boss-eyed in dreamland. Next month he's back. Now look at Big Ald. See the smile, see the gold, and count the cash. And all took his eyes off the prize. The yes men and women at his side shouted their approval too loud. He forgot to box, okay? Look at Richie Woodall. He had the desire, turned his bronzing soul into a real world title, never took his eyes off the prize. Committed, driven, dedicated. Michael Carruth, gold in Barcelona ring on that glorious night in '92. He got his 100 grand, never quite made it. Then Courtney Fry, a Sydney veteran, still out there fighting in prize fighter. Trust me, Andy, winning or taking part in the Olympics is no guarantee of success. You need that drive, you need that desire, and as Terry said, you need to avoid the red mist and somehow ignore 10, 12, 15,000 people. In a word, Bunsey, you can say this. Of the four, how many would you imagine will win European titles or above? I'd be devastated if these four here don't fight for a European title. I'll be devastated if Darren Sutherland doesn't fight for a European title. Let's see, they heard it here first. Right, Terry, thank you very much for joining us today. No spillage on you. You're looking very sorry.
No spillage.
No, just one thing quickly. I know we've got to go for a break, but listen, it's my show. I do what I like. Terry, now, I want you to tell me, you've got some secret work with a Commonwealth country leading up to Delhi in 2012. Can you tell me the country you can't, can you?
No, not at this time. I'm not going to. But I have been invited in to go across to a Commonwealth country to review their programme and leading up not only to Delhi but also to 2012. Because it turns out you know a little bit about Olympic success. Carry on, Andy, otherwise we'll get in trouble. There's a man in my ear screaming. Yeah.
Now to one of Britain's brightest young boxing prospects now, and Billy Joe Saunders makes his professional debut against Attila Molnar this weekend. The teenager, who comes from a family with a history of bare-knuckle fighters, says he's ready for the step up, and he claims the Hungarian opponent is in for a shock on Saturday.
Billy Joe Saunders could be Britain's next big thing. The teenager was the youngest boxer to be selected for the Beijing Olympics, but despite the disappointing games, he feels better for the experience.
Just to burst on the world stage at Olympic Games at this 18 on his achievement on his own. But I think really I've taken more away, really.
Coaching Saunders is a man who's trained world champions such as Nigel Benn, Barry McGuigan and Frank Bruno, and Jimmy Tibbs is confident he could have another star on his hands.
I look at him at 19, I can see that he knows how to box anyone. But as I say, he's just got to get that bit of man strength, which that will even come quicker than we think.
Saunders is no stranger to the ring. He grew up as part of a Romani travelling community, and his grandfather was a renowned bare-knuckle fighter.
They do it to settle problems and arguments, they do it. But I mean, I've always been steered away from that part, thankfully, and you know, the only fight I've ever done is in the ring, and I mean, I've seen it and that, I mean, it's watching it, it's just brutal, but it's good.
Billy Joe makes his professional debut this weekend against Attila Molnar of Hungary. It's a challenge he's relishing.
I know I'm not going to lose because they'll have to shoot me dead, really, for me to stay on the floor or do whatever, because I'm just going out to win and that is it.
The people behind Billy Joe Saunders are confident he can go all the way to the top. His first big test takes place at the Birmingham NIA on Saturday. Pete Graves.
And you can see Attila Molnar is just one.